Vlog on a Wednesday? Oh, wait, this is the new day. Hi, and welcome to Quilt Meets World, where we have adventures in piecing and joy. I'm Russ, coming into my sewing room. So, Wednesday. Yeah, there's reasons for that, and I'll get to those later, I hope. But needless to say, my vlogs are going to be released on Wednesdays from now on. And I have done a little bit of math, and spoiler alert, vlog number 100 is going to be very special to me now. So there is that. Work, I'm not really going to justify the craziness that went on with them this last week with time in my vlog again. Suffice to say, I'm over these consultants. They are supposed to be off the project in about 2 weeks, so yay! But that also means who knows what kind of answers to the problems that we still have and what fixes are going to come out we'll get. I'm just going to keep my finger crossed and hope that, we get some positivity out of this soon. Riley and Percy had a great week. Well, okay, Riley got sad twice. The first time was Saturday. We were walking around the neighborhood and we almost got home, and her bestie next door, Lulu, was getting walked as well. Because, they know each other and they love each other, and they used to play here. They get to play up daycare when they can. They wanted to instantly go and say hi to each other and play and jump around and run because, all they know how to do with each other is run. But they couldn't, and they kind of whined and everything. But, I needed to get home to get some stuff done, and, they need to get out on their walk. They need to get stuff prepped. So had to like pause those. But it got worse. Monday, we're sitting and relaxing on the couch, and all of a sudden Riley jumps up and does her little, whimper. I want, something's happening. I want to go out. And she runs to the back door. And that basically says, hey, I want to go out and play. I kind of peeked out, and I saw Lulu was out there, and, she's not allowed to go out and play with Lulu because Lulu, when she injured her leg, they can't, they don't want to re-injure it again. So it's like, no playing, running around with Lulu. But Lulu also had a friend out there. The neighbors, her parents, came to visit for the long weekend and brought their doggo, and they were calm, like dogs who know each other are. And they were outside doing the whole potty break and everything and getting along. And Riley's like, I want to go play with elder friends. So I felt bad, but we got another walk out of it. So there was that. In here, it was a nice long weekend. Saturday morning on my 11sies, I had my friend John from Guys Craft 2 over here on my channel, and we started the Tibet pattern sew along from Villa Rosa Designs. We were chit-chatting and hung out a while here as we were sewing, I guess what they call pseudo four patches. There was 4 pieces of fabric. They did not meet in the center, so there was no, need for that point accuracy, which was kind of nice. It was a lot of fun, and there were a few shenanigans that happened. So if you were there, thank you for joining us. And if you weren't, go watch the replay. It was a lot of fun. Sunday, I was over on John's channel during his live time, and we sewed our blocks together into the center of the quilt top. Again, it was a lot of fun. We were chit-chatting and everything. I did discover that I sewed my 4 patches backwards, which the only people who are really going to know are Villa Rosa Designs because, they put out the pattern. Me and, everybody else who has just seen this and heard me say that I did my blocks backwards. It really doesn't matter, just because, they're kind of like 4 patches, whether they're this side of each other or that side of each other, you get the same look and feel. So I really wasn't worried about it. And they're all rotated and tossed around, so you don't get any deal with that. I am in love with the way that it came out, even though, I wanted two fabrics swapped. But again, that was my fault. I did not properly plan. Like, I did not draw it out and say, okay, this is what it's going to do, and didn't visually see it. So I'm not really worried. It came out gorgeous. I do need to get borders put on because at this point it's only 48 inches wide, which is a little skinny for me. I like to have something to wrap me a little bit bigger, but it is freaking tall. Without the borders, it is 72 inches tall, and that means 6 foot. So I'm like an inch taller than it, barely. I probably should have did 5 rows tall just so it doesn't feel obscenely long, but it is what it is. There were some of you out there that said, I'm only doing 5 rows instead of 6, and it didn't click to me why until I held it up in here and was like, okay, I'm holding it up as high as I can, and it's still touching the floor. Yeah, so it was that. I do need to get the borders on. That should hopefully happen this week. Monday, on Labor Day, the day we celebrate everyone who's ever gone into labor, I had an extra live here on my channel. I called it Afternoon Tea because it was in the early afternoon. I wanted to make sure that Stephanie and John had their time because Stephanie hadn't gone live all weekend, and John had his live already planned for like a month. So I was like, let them do their stuff, then I will do my stuff. I was working on the first blocks in the most recent sew along from Fort Worth Fabric Studio called For the Most Part. It was week 2, but it was the first week of sewing, so they're the first blocks. It gets a little confusing. But I have no other way to describe it because I like the first week being cutting and then the rest of the weeks be sewing. So got to figure out maybe if I come up with an idea, I'll suggest it to them. But it gets a little confusing trying to explain it. But the first blocks are these happy little trees. I love these trees. They came out so awesome. I did one of them on the live, and then I did one of them beforehand, so I knew what I was doing, because it's always bad to not know what you're doing. They're very simple. They're basically, well, one of the rows is a flying goose, and the rest of them are pseudo flying geese, just because they don't have to meet at the point at the top. And also, don't necessarily lose. There's not really points to risk losing because a tree, it's irregular as it is. So I think these came out really nicely, and I'm almost not far behind. I've got 6 more of these to put together, and just a couple more days to do it because later this week on Saturday I will be working on week 3, which is the second week of blocks. And those are stars, so got to get those caught up too. So yeah, it was an excellent long weekend. There has been a little bit of talk about, hey Russ, can you host a Zoom day like Steven does every now and then? And if you don't know, my friend Steven of the Idiot Quilter, he hosts a pop-up sew day randomly, usually on a Saturday because that's his easy day to handle things. A lot of times it's when his husband Walter is out sewing with his other friends and he's just like, I want some company. So he does a pop up sew day. And for some people, one pop up sew day every couple of weeks just isn't quite enough. So I did do some talking with Steven and he's all for it. So I'm going to try it out because I do have a Zoom license and everything that is mostly going to dust. I think I'm going to call it Sewing and Shenanigans. Mostly because a lot of the other suggestions that have came out didn't really tickle my fancy. It didn't go, as crazy as I like to go at times. But if you think you do have a better idea, let's have it in the comments below. Now, there's a little bit of a controversy, and it's only my controversy. I had already pre-picked the 15th before Steven decided to do his pop-up sew day on the 14th. I had mentioned it on my little vlog moving announcement video on Sunday, and the only proof I have that I said it first is the timestamp in the video recording that I have on my computer, but I digress. I am not moving my date, and I do not expect Steven to move his date either. So it sounds like you guys will get two sew days in a row on Zoom. I will be putting a link to the Zoom in next week's video, but you should probably start, planning as it is because, you're going to be done with everything on Steven's sew day, so you're going to have something for mine. I'm thinking about, starting a little bit of a mailing list as well, like Steven has. I am not going to ask for his mailing list because most people don't need to be put on, everybody's mailing list. So if you want to be included on my Sewing and Shenanigans announcement list, send me an email and I will add you to that list. My email is in the description box below. And while you're down there, why not hit the like button and make sure you're subscribed to my channel? I know YouTube does like to knock out some people with their subscriptions every now and then, so it's always a good time to check. Since I now have Sundays available because, I'm moving my vlog to Wednesdays, it's going to give me a little bit more time in here to get my goals done. Part of moving my vlog was to give time for sewing and shenanigans, but it also gives me more time in my sewing room on regular weekends because most of my Sundays is spent, trying to get my vlog figured out, up and ready, get it compiled and uploaded, and then, I also still have my friends that I watch on YouTube as well. So if I can take that time that I was doing for my vlog and, shift that to like Monday or Tuesday, to have a Wednesday publish, I think that'll work a lot better in my week. So with Sundays available, I will have that little bit more time to get my goals done. The first thing on my list is to finish the rest of these happy little trees from Fort Worth Fabric Studios for the most part. As I said earlier, I've got 6 of them left to do, and they're fairly easy sew along, so I don't think it'll take too much time. The second thing on my list is to get fully prepped for the stars that were released Monday for the most part sew along. We have 8 of those to do, and I will be sewing them live on my channel this Saturday for my 11sies at 11 a.m. Eastern. The third thing on my list is going to be to finish the Tibet quilt that I was working on with John from Guys Craft 2. There are 2 borders that need to be put on there, a really skinny inner border and then a good sized outer border. I have everything ready for them to go on. I just need to get in here, sit down, and start sewing them. It should be easy to get them on, and then The backing I already picked is a 108, so I should be able to get that loaded on the long arm and figure out a pantograph on it. Probably going to do the same pantograph that I did on Downton Tabby because this is a cat themed quilt. That was a cat themed quilt, and it's a cat themed pantograph. So uh, maybe I'll use that as my show and tell this month. Anywho, I think that's going to be about it for today. I hope you were entertained just a little bit with my weekly shenanigans. If you wouldn't mind doing the things for the YouTube algorithm that it likes, that would be awesome. It's various things such as liking the video or disliking it if you so choose, subscribing to the channel, commenting, or doing the hokey pokey. I was addicted to the hokey pokey once, but I turned myself around. Ringing the bell icon next to the subscribe button gets you notified when I go live on Saturday mornings and when I upload other videos like, my weekly vlog on Wednesdays now. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day and an awesome week. Until next time, stay happy and keep stitching.